it makes me happy, that, a young person has, gone back to recreating and learning and about, this traditional art. I think it's extremely important. It's so great to see young minds, young hands, a young dreamer, creating, art like this today, like you said. Yes, it's a traditional art. There are, traditional materials and what they were created for 100 years ago. But today, the transition, yes, the art has to evolve. And what you are doing today is, I think, very, very beautiful. And it makes me happy. It really does just make me happy that, a young person like you has an opportunity and a dream to do this, to go back, to Hawaii and, teach and mentor somebody. I think it's very, very important because it's part of your tradition. It's part of your family practice that, has been, brought into this world.
When I look at your work, I really resonate with so much of your approach to not only materials and process, but also what you end up portraying within your pieces, because it really is not only a reflection of your culture, but also you and how you see your landscape through your eyes, how you experience the land. And yes, you're working with these practices that you learned from your grandmother, and I really love that story of the golden ochre yarn being pulled from the pot, and you thinking it's magic, because it really is, and just looking at how that resonates with my own practice and how I feel a sort of kinship with that, because I also use materials and processing techniques that have been practiced for thousands of years, but I don't think that we need to keep the practice stagnant in a way. It needs to continue evolving. And so when I look at your landscapes of the mesas and all the different colors reflected in the sunsets, that the colors actually come from the lands where those sunsets are happening, it's just a beautiful reflection of place and specificity of culture, and pushing that forward to keep new generations interested in weaving and make it relevant to our experiences today. And I find the work that I often resonate with the most is a beautiful blend of traditional and contemporary, where we can't really see the line that divides the two in half.
The best thing I could say is, I'm very proud that, you are doing kapa today, which I'm just starting to learn about. I didn't know much. I've heard the word kapa when I was in Hawaii several years ago, but it didn't interest me then, but now I'm learning about it, and that's what it should be about. We should be collaborating, learning, sharing, because, it's a form of art that's been around for hundreds of years. And I think it's just, the best word I use is beautiful. You're perpetuating something that's very important. And it comes from you, it comes from your soul, your head, what you're thinking, how you observe the environment, how you acknowledge your practice. I think it's, it's very, very important. So keep it up.
I can't stop now. I have people counting on me. Everyone back home,
Yes.
They're always, I know they have expectations and standards that I have to keep
which is good to have.
It's good,
It's good because there's an interest there.
Yes.
People are interested, which is probably the best part. You can, mentoring somebody, they might do kapa right away, but down the road, 5 years after they took your first class, I've some nieces that taught them weaving now two of the nieces want to go start weaving again.
Sometimes the seed takes a while to...
Yeah. I mean, they have other responsibilities, but that was the burst, the best news I heard, that they want to get back into weaving.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think too, like, with things are the way that they are in this day and age, like with social media and technology, like the reach that we potentially have as artists is like multiplied 100-fold, and so I could be creating something like thousands of miles away and post it like on my Instagram, and kids back home have like when I've worked with my mentor and done workshops at one of the charter schools out there, like these kids will come up to me and be like, oh, I follow you on Instagram, like I love looking at your patterns. And so they'll show me like ones that they designed on their own, and they're like telling me the story behind it, and I'm like, this is really cool, like, to be able to use something that can be sometimes so trivial like social media to have a positive impact and kind of see it as like an educational tool to keep something growing, or like you said, just to plant the seed, that interest, to keep something alive, and maybe they'll start wanting to make kapa in like 10 years. They can look back and think about like how they were inspired by all these makers that they saw online like years ago.
They'll look up your name again.
So I think, there's so much like that, like these days we like have to like work around or like fight against, or like all these little challenges. But when you see like someone light up and like where it clicks for them, where they like get it, or that little spark that they have, it's so like rewarding. So like even if like just one person is like really inspired by my work, like I'm doing the right thing. So I feel good.